Hi there, I'm Adrian Atkinson and this is Jamaica Magazine. It's Child Month and today we talk support for children with disabilities. Also between the pages, the work of the government to stop cybercrime. Stay tuned, we have lots in store just for you.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez with your JIS News for Tuesday, May 15. The National Water Commission, NWC, has created a $15 billion bond facility to become more financially viable. Details of the bond was unveiled at a Jamaica House press conference earlier today. Our reporter Janisha Duggan has more in this report.
The NWC's bond facility was secured with the National Commercial Bank's Capital Markets Limited. The move will allow the agency to rebalance its loan portfolio and reduce its use of government guarantees. At Tuesday's function, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said the bond, which is in Jamaican dollars, provides no government guarantee and has a long-term repayment plan, which signals that government is giving greater certainty in the market.
In making the NWC viable, we are also supporting our financial sector, because they can now invest in a viable long-term asset that will generate the revenues over the long period to support pension payments or insurance payments. And that is what the economy needs to grow.
Reporting for JIS News, I'm Janisha Dugan.
Homeless persons in and around Oteria St. Anne are now benefiting from a drop-in center. The $14 million facility was opened on Friday under the Ministry of Local Government's Social Protection Program. Drop-in centers will also be opened in St. Elizabeth, Hanover, and St. Mary in the year.
The expansion of national facilities that will provide care and comfort to our homeless citizens is an important aspect of the work of this administration. It is one of the features of the human face of the Andrew Holness-led administration and a symbol of our commitment to assisting the less fortunate in our society.
$150,000 will be provided as a monthly subvention for the operation of the St. Anne-based center. The island's second water shop has been opened to residents in and around Marley Hill in South Manchester. Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie opened the $8 million facility on Monday. He said the water shop, which houses 8 2,000-gallon water tanks, forms part of government's commitment to public health and growth through agriculture.
That we are not saying that the water shops is the end of your problems. We're not saying that this is the answer. We are saying there is a need and we are responding to that need. And if we had several of this, perhaps the cry would be not as loud as it has been across many sections of the country.
Marley Hill is the second community to benefit from the initiative following the opening of a water shop in Pennants, Clarendon. Minister McKenzie said plans are in train to build other water shops across the island, including one to be built at Belfield in Manchester. Police officers and judges will be trained as part of the proposed implementation of the Child Diversion Program. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says this will help in preparing public officials to determine when it is best to utilize the measures under the program. Child diversion is the process of implementing measures dealing with children who are alleged, accused of, or recognized to have infringed the law without resorting to the formal judicial proceedings. Training is among the measures to be undertaken as the government seeks to introduce child diversion to the criminal justice system.
The police play an integral role, and at the very beginning, the police can decide, first, if it's a minor offense, to warn the child and release the child, and this is really an informal warning.
Minister Chuck says the proposed child diversion program will ensure parents are on board to assist their child to steer clear of a life of crime. The Ministry of Education is now in receipt of a declaration on higher education in Jamaica. The document is one of the products coming out of the inaugural two-day Higher Education Summit held recently. Speaking with JIS News, Portfolio Minister Ruel Reid says the declaration will guide the development of legislation on governance, quality assurance and regulation of tertiary education.
This is very historic because it's setting the platform for how Jamaica is going to position itself to develop its human resources at a very high level, so we can have the critical mass of highly skilled and trained workers that are themselves trained and aligned to the areas of national priority, the areas where the economy is going, the STEM areas, the industrial areas.
And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thank you for watching.
When using an automated banking machine ABM, ensure the machine is in a location you are comfortable with, and when you enter, be sure to close the door. Examine the machine before you insert your debit card, and never enter your card if the machine has a suspicious device attached to it. More important, don't allow strangers to assist you in conducting a transaction. And remember, treat your debit card like cash. Keep it in a safe place.
As more persons log online, criminals are trolling cyberspace committing unfavorable acts. Watch this to stay protected while you browse.
Cybercriminal activities are on the rise, affecting the lives of people worldwide, resulting in a need to increase the awareness of all citizens. The Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology has been making the internet more accessible to all of us, but with that comes greater responsibility. As
the government aggressively moves to creating the digital knowledge-based society, it is very important to ensure that citizens, businesses, everybody understands the responsibility that comes along with using technology. The government of Jamaica continues to move with help from the Universal Service Fund, which is an agency under the ministry, to broaden access to technology and the internet by creating public Wi-Fi services and deploying community access points. This is an effort to ensure that everyone has access to the internet and cyberspace.
The ever-increasing popularity of social media platforms and its dark side has prompted the Stop, Think, Connect campaign.
Stop, Think, Connect brings out general safety practices, and we encourage persons to stop and think. Actually, you find at times you're going to post a selfie, for example, and you take that selfie. We encourage you to stop and think before you actually post that selfie. Is it necessary to post? Do the people really need to see this? Do I really need to post this? What effect can it have in the future?
Stop, Think, Connect is not just geared towards our personal use of the internet. It should be incorporated in our work lives as well.
Cybersecurity in the workplace is everyone's business. A lot of institutions worldwide, and Jamaica is not excluded from this, have been impacted by ransomware and other malware. A lot of times what we find is that it's that end user that clicked on an email link, an attachment, or went to a website that they shouldn't have. We have to make an effort now to not only educate users, but actual persons at all levels within institutions to be aware of the threat that is out there. Because when an organized cybercrime is coming, it's usually targeted at critical infrastructure.
Critical infrastructure such as energy, water, telecoms and media are just some of the targeted areas. Ignore pop-ups when they appear on your computer and never trust emails from questionable sources. By opening any of the following, you may be giving a virus a free access pass to your devices. There are several antivirus and anti-malware software on the market. Use them. And also remember to keep your private information private. Passwords, driver's license, national identification number, traveling and banking information should not be saved on public computers. Cybersecurity is our shared responsibility. Let's play our part. Stop, think, connect.
Children with disabilities should not be shunned. They need everyone's love and protection. For tips and advice on how to care for a child with a disability, contact the Disabilities Foundation. Here's more.
Safeguarding children with disabilities is very important. More so, although all children are vulnerable, but children with disabilities tend to be a little bit more vulnerable because there are sometimes some of them cannot take care of themselves. And so when we think of safeguarding children with disabilities, we have to think of the different disability groups because there are some who can manage more than others. For persons who are deaf, children who are deaf, you have to ensure that they get the information about being safe, whether safe on the roads or safe from strangers or safe from persons who would harm them. So giving them the information in a language that they can understand. And for us in Jamaica, it's through the Jamaican Sign Language. For persons with intellectual disabilities, it is taking care to explain over and over again in simple language the different types of dangers that they might face. It is teaching them how to be safe on the roads, how to be safe at home, at school, wherever they are. And for these children, they will need sometimes practical examples of what to do. And so for them it is not just telling, but it is also showing. It is very, very important for the child who is blind that they can listen and they can understand readily, but they cannot see, and so they need to be introduced, to the physical feel of things. To know, so that they can be aware of their surroundings. They need to be taught to be more aware of their surroundings, because sometimes it is not about what you can see or feel, but it is just, having that sixth sense. The Child Development Agency covers all children. However, there is a Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, the Combined Disabilities Association, the Jamaica Association for the Deaf, the Jamaican Association on Intellectual Disabilities, the Jamaica Autism Support Association that is there, you know, to help parents and caregivers. It is for the general public to look out for persons with disabilities. Look out for them in the bus stations, you know, at the bus center, you know, for areas, parishes that have bus centers. Do not abuse them. Do not shove them aside. Do not, when you're entering the bus and everybody is pushing and shoving, look out for them to ensure that they get on the bus so that they too can get home, if that is their means of transportation. Persons really have to look out. Don't take away their lunch money. Don't spit on them. You know, don't disregard them. They're another human being seeking an education, seeking to go about their business like any other legitimate child. And so they should be allowed to grow up. They should be allowed to become all that they can be, so that later on we do not have to be seeing them begging on the streets, or, you know, they're cast aside and society has to take care of them, because it will cost us more.
Energy saving is not a maybe, it's a must. So hear this. Yo, turn off your light, turn off your TV and your fan. When you not use it, turn off your heater and your AC as part of the plan. When you not use it, the public sector retrofitting, so the private sector and we fi join in. Retrofitting? Yeah. What that? How you do that? Listen up, hey. A whole time light bulb. That's what that. Use energy saving bulb. I delete that. Put a regulator on your refrigerator. Use your wits to save water. Be smart, you know. And all motor is so long fi drive fast. Ease up half of the gas. Save gas. Energy conservation throughout the nation. Every woman and man come join in the plan. The plan to save energy. We must save energy. Ease up on the energy. Up on the energy. Save today, protect tomorrow.
There's a website that provides information on services and products offered by public entities. It's a one-stop shop for details on applying for government-based offerings such as passport. Nope, you have to watch this next feature to get the specifics.
The banner behind me says growth. We're not emphasizing the digital society because it sounds good. We're emphasizing the creation of the digital society because it will bring economic growth and job creation to the Jamaican economy and society. The conventional thinking is that the more we integrate technology, then the more jobs become at risk. I'm certain that that is not the experience or the case. There may be need for retooling, retraining, and of course, the integration of technology liberates existing staff from doing functions that are suboptimal to doing functions that are far more productive. So I wanted to make this point to the public sector that we should embrace technology because it is good for economic growth and job creation. It has taken almost a decade for us to reach to the point where we are now, for the implementation of the first real strategy for the introduction of a system-wide use of technology, and that is the National Identification System. So we are taking steps to increase the efficiency of the public bureaucracy by integrating technology. And the first strategy is to identify every single Jamaican uniquely. That means that every single Jamaican will have an account in the national database, in the National Civil Registry. And that account will hold your identity information. And that identity information will allow you to be verified and authenticated in all the databases that are held across government. So just so that we're not confused, it is not the attempt of the government of Jamaica to have information on all citizens in one place. We want to maintain your privacy. We want to give you the assurance that your data is safe and that what we don't need to know, we don't need to know. We tend to look at the technology in identifying as, yes, we now can find you, but it's not finding you to enforce or impose. Think about the hundreds of thousands of Jamaicans who we have never found to assist with PAD, who need the benefit, but the state just doesn't identify them. So giving identity to the Jamaican people will allow them not just to participate in the real world, but they will now be able to participate in the digital world. So in creating the National Identification System as the first step towards achieving the digital society, we will be making the delivery of public services far more efficient, and that will contribute to greater inclusion, but greater economic growth and job creation as well. All of this has to be coordinated. So we have signed off on our GovNet strategy. We have signed off on our e-governance policy. We are now trying to create the Chief Information Officer post, and that post will be responsible for moving the entire government along the digital platform. So I just thought that I would share with the heads of agencies, the permanent secretaries, members of the private sector who are gathered here, the government's commitment towards creating Jamaica as the first totally digital e-government in this region. So we're going to be the next totally digital government next to Estonia.
So many times we sit and we talk and we say, hey, I would love for Jamaica to be this kind of place. But what are you really doing? What type of Jamaica do you want to see?
We're hoping to use art to teach Jamaica that it's not the thunder that grows the flower, it's the gentle rain. We want Jamaica to stop thundering for everything and start to put forth gentle rain, especially in the lives of our youth.
This gentle rain is the Acts of Random Kindness initiative being put forward by the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the JCF, a program that inspires and encourages expressions of kindness.
Our project comes out of our youth empowerment and mentorship program, where we're teaching our youngsters to know themselves, to know their purpose, to understand that it is important to cultivate attitudes of kindness, gratitude, and respect, as well as to put themselves on a good destiny, a life path.
The Youth Empowerment and Mentorship Program uses the iPad Summer Camp to teach resilience and social skills to children from at-risk communities.
If we can show you an act of kindness when you were young, if you were to reciprocate this act of kindness to somebody else, what a wonderful Jamaica this could be.
We saw a youth leader in the camp who decided to take responsibility for the lack of a belt on one of his team's part, and said, you know what, you have my belt and I will then take the responsibility for the consequences. It's like an evolution and a revolution all at once, because they made revolutionary changes to their behaviors as opposed to when they just came on day one, day two, And you could start to see them evolving into being kinder and gentler youth.
Action means identity, purpose, attitude, and destiny. So with the attitude, you have, I will show respect, kindness, and gratitude. It's important because most youths are growing up in very disturbing societies where a level of kindness and love isn't shown. So the camp actually gives us that love that is missing from our lives and help us to reflect this on others as well.
We want our youth to do tangible acts of random kindness, to be kindness ambassadors in their schools and communities. This will in turn raise the awareness in adults that they too should be agents of change.
We are challenging Jamaica to engage in a very self-conscious way in acts of random kindness amongst adults and towards our children. We want you to think kind, Jamaica. We want you to act kind. We want you to be kind.
I am ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. You have to have kindness in your heart. You have to be compassionate towards people. Some persons really need it. A little act of kindness sometimes motivates somebody else.
So we want our youngsters at school, at home, and at play to think kind, act kind, and be kind. It is a message that needs to be self-conscious.
We are inviting you, youth, adults, business places, to take up your link in the chain and bring this initiative to life. Respond with smiles, hugs, positive affirmations, and acts of kindness to transform relationships in homes, schools, the workplace. Transform relationships right across Jamaica.
If we want a kinder, gentler Jamaica, where all of us want to live, work, and raise family, it is important that each and every one of us start to think about the words that we speak to our children. Start with a kind word. Start by giving a smile and saying good day. Start by saying thank you. Start by giving a hug. Where you can be a mentor, just listen to their concern. Show that you have some degree of understanding and empathy.
Be conscious, be aware. The cost to being kind is a state of mind.
Want to know the law pertaining to renting a house? What about the procedure if you're arrested? Or what is defined as corruption? Then click on the Ministry of Justice website. It has information on every law passed in Jamaica. The House of Parliament portal also has the more recent year's pieces of legislation. The sites are easy to search and the files are downloadable. Make access to justice your business. Know your rights.
This is where the pages close for today. Thank you so much for turning the pages with us. Please stay connected via one of our social networks. We are just a click away. Until next time, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.